Hello, welcome back to Star Wars The Living Set. Another episode with Will. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you.
How have things been?
Been going good, yeah.
Good. Life has been good for you?
Mm-hmm.
You got braces since the last time we saw you?
I did, yes.
Well, hopefully that will not have to last too long, but excited to be back with you. So, all right, we got 4 cards coming at you this week. Pretty exciting with some cool characters that we have this week. And I'm going to
great characters.
We do have some cool characters. I'm going to start off this week with Sebulba. Card number 39. Sebulba is a character that we first saw in the Phantom Menace. Pretty cool because all of a sudden there's this gigantic pod race.
It was awesome.
That we had never heard of before, right? One of the really cool things about the Phantom Menace, because Jar Jar wasn't involved in the pod race.
Yeah, no.
But also really cool character, right? So let's get into some stats first. Sebulba, they made 1,101 of them. So far, 61 have been graded, 39 PSA 10, and 22 PSA 9s. So Sebulba is actually a Doug from the planet Malastare, is what he is. He was voiced by Lewis McLeod, and Lewis McLeod has done over 169 different shows, either video games or whatever. He's done a lot of voice stuff, which is pretty cool. So, of course, kind of the competition for Anakin, right, is Sebulba. He interacts with them at the beginning. He almost kills Jar Jar.
He does.
The Star Wars universe might have been better if Sebulba had killed him at that point. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, probably.
And then we get to see him race, right? And Sebulba's pod racer, he's like the main pod racer guy. In fact, at one point he's like getting groomed by all these other people as like
he's like the champion.
He's like the champion.
When they say Sebulba, the whole entire crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, they go,
every single other one. There's a few, but mostly boos. But when Sebulba's name was called, everybody went crazy.
Yeah, they were excited about Sebulba. They probably had a lot of money on him, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So pretty cool to see Sebulba. We don't really know what happens to him much after that, right? So we think he's still around. But the cool part, we see other Dougs. Again, that's the race or species that Sebulba is. We see them in episode 2 at the diner with what's his name again?
Dex.
Dex, that's right. And then you mentioned, when else do we see some more Dougs?
We actually have a very decent amount of interaction with the Dougs in the Clone Wars. I forget which season episode, but it's the ones where they meet the Zillo Beast. And the Zillo Beast originally comes from the Dougs on Malastare.
Very cool. So again, pretty cool character with Sebulba. The art for that card, I think, is pretty darn cool.
It is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. They actually, and kind of doing some research, they talked about having him wear like the goggles as kind of that racer type thing. Kind of a mix between like a camel and these other, just a pretty cool character. I thought that was interesting and definitely brought a lot of passion, a lot of personality to that pod race.
Yeah.
All right, anything else about Sebulba this week?
I don't think so.
All right, I'm going to turn over to you for card number 40. Tell me about card number 40. Is it Kanan?
Card number 40 is Kanan Jarrus.
Kanan Jarrus. All right, tell me about him.
So, Kanan is someone who we had never known, just like basically all of the Ghost crew. And of course, I'm talking about Kanan from Rebels.
Ooh, okay.
He is in the Bad Batch.
Okay.
In the first episode of season 2, I believe.
Okay.
But that's the first. No, it's not season 2. It's right at the beginning. Yes. We see him in Bad Batch anyway. But this Kanan is specifically from Rebels. First, we're going to go to stats, then we're going to go into all the written effects. So they made 1,086.
Yep.
They have been graded 63, 19 PSA 9s, and 42 PSA 10s. The voice is Freddie Prinze Jr.
Now, you have no idea who that is, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay, so for those of you guys, depending on how old you are, Freddie Prinze Jr., all about the 90s, right? So he was in Scooby-Doo, he was in She's All That. He's in a lot of different things. I didn't know that Freddie Prinze Jr. had actually voiced Kanan. So I'll let you talk about Kanan, the character, but the cool part was when he came in to do the audition for it, he didn't even know he was trying out for it. He found out the day, like the minute he got there, he was interviewing, or he was actually trying out for a Star Wars character, which was pretty cool. So tell us about Kanan. Like, give us some details on his character.
So we don't really know that much about him. We kind of get a little bit of backstory in the Bad Batch, as I said. We see him with his master, Depa Billaba. And then
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Depa Billaba.
Is that different than Dua Lipa?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Than Dua Lipa. There have been a lot of memes about that, but
okay.
There's a difference.
Got it.
Then Order 66 is executed right after that. Then Kanan runs away. We don't see him again until Rebels. But the interesting thing is that his name actually isn't Kanan.
Okay, what is his name?
His original name is actually Caleb Doom.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff about that because we first see him in Rebels, obviously, and then we just know him as Kanan
Okay.
until randomly he just tosses out, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not Kanan, I'm Caleb," but they still all call him Kanan.
Okay.
So he has a very cool, interesting lightsaber where the hilt and the blade emitter actually disconnect.
Ooh.
It's a very interesting style.
Okay.
So he has the hilt on one side.
Yep.
The emitter on the other side.
Okay.
When he wants to take it out, he just grabs them both, connects them, turns it on. It's very cool.
I've not seen that before.
It's very awesome. It's one of my favorite lightsabers of all time.
Okay.
But sadly, he doesn't make it all the way through Rebels.
No. Spoiler alert.
At, I believe it's the finale of season 4, he saves the rest of the Ghost crew.
Okay.
And so, like, they're blowing up this thing, this fuel station.
Yep.
And then it goes wrong.
Okay.
And then all the fire is coming towards the ship that they're all on.
Yep.
And then he jumps out and uses the Force to push back the fire, which
Okay.
we have seen before and is also very hard to do.
Okay.
And he then dies, which is very sad. And yeah.
But he sacrificed himself for the crew, right?
He did sacrifice himself
well,
for the crew.
Shout out to Kanan, right?
Great character.
Awesome, good character. And again, shout out to Freddie Prinze. Didn't know he was in that, which is pretty darn cool. All right, anything else about Kanan this week?
Not really.
All right, I'm excited for the next card.
I am too.
Card number 41, K-2SO.
Woohoo!
Now, I was a big fan of Rogue One.
I was like, what? I have no idea what is going on, but this is so cool. I love it.
Yeah, I thought the movie was great. K-2SO brought a whole new character to droids.
He
Right.
was an immediate favorite.
Yeah, immediate favorite. Before, droids would do little beeps and it'd be like, haha. They'd say little things and they're like, whatever.
Or it'd be C-3PO talking in the same voice and just doing his little...
Yep. Yeah, but K-2SO was amazing. I thought
Oh my God.
he was funny, just the way he acted, and it's just a really great character. So first, let's get into the stats on K-2SO. They've made 1,151. They graded 76 so far, 65 PSA 10s and 11 PSA 9s. So let's talk about the character of K-2SO. It was actually voiced by Alan Tudyk. Do you know who Alan Tudyk is?
No.
Alan Tudyk has been in a ton of stuff. So he's kind of well known for, he was in Zootopia. He was probably one of the most well known from Firefly and Serenity, which is a great sci-fi show. I don't think you've seen that one yet.
Nope.
It was a TV show for like 1 or 2 seasons. It was a movie, huge hit. Something happened, it didn't come back. He was also in Wreck-It Ralph. He was King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph.
That really surprised me when you told
Surprised
me.
me, right?
That is awesome.
And one of my favorite characters in the movie Dodgeball, he was actually Steve the Pirate. So for those of you guys that have seen Dodgeball, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So initially, Alan Tudyk actually turned down the role to do this job, which is interesting because he was apparently working on something called Con Man. Some sort of project he was working on, turned it down.
Huh.
They eventually got him to take it. So he was a CGI character in this, right? So obviously he's not walking around in a costume.
Oh no, it's not C-3PO style where they can just stick someone in, add a bunch of wires over the chest where his body is.
Yep.
And do all CGI.
Yeah, so we'll throw up some pictures here where Alan Tudyk actually had to walk around on stilts. So his head was up high enough so the actors could look up and interact with him at that height. And he's got, of course, all the little like blobs all over him so that they can do the CGI stuff later.
Yeah.
But Alan Tudyk had to learn how to interact and do all this stuff while on stilts, which was pretty darn cool. The other cool thing about this one is that he practiced 3 different accents. And he finally decided on an English accent because it was a previous Imperial droid. And if you notice, most of the Imperials have an English accent, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is actually, not only was K-2SO, this is probably my favorite card of this episode as far as the artwork.
I would agree.
I think it's really
It's
good. It's an awesome job done, of course, by Chris Penix on this one. But I'm a huge fan of K-2SO. Spoiler alert, he doesn't make it through Rogue One, although most people don't make it through Rogue One.
I'm pretty sure nobody makes it through
Yeah.
Rogue One, really. I think they all die.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Not many do, but again, he was an awesome character and really bummed to see him go. So,
Yeah.
All right, Will, I'm going to turn over to you for the last card number 42 of this week. Tell us about that one.
42 is Echo Base Trooper. I'm sorry I kind of had to build it up there because it's not really that big of a card. So this one is just generically Echo Base Trooper.
Yep.
Like just all of the troopers that are there, all of them that die, this is just for them. First we're going to stats. They made 1,136. there have been graded so far 51, 15 PSA 9s, and 35 PSA 10s.
Yep. So Echo Base Trooper, again, just kind of, there's a whole bunch of Echo Base Troopers, right?
There's probably 50, 60 maybe.
Oh, it's not more than that because there's a bunch outside in the trenches.
Yeah, there's in the trenches and inside. So yeah, probably about like 200 maybe.
I'm not even sure. There's a lot, right?
There's a lot, yeah.
However, there is a very famous actor who was an Echo Base Trooper. And if you didn't know this one, John Ratzenberger, and you're saying, who's John Ratzenberger, right? Well, John Ratzenberger was very, very famous for playing Cliff Claven on Cheers. He's also been in almost every single Pixar movie as a voice.
That makes sense.
Which is awesome. And he does a lot of different voice things, a lot of different TV shows. But that was kind of one of his first movies was actually, he played Major Durlin?
Durling. I'm pretty sure. I think it's Durlin.
I think it's Durlin, right? But John Ratzenberger, who went on to play Cliff Claven in Cheers, was actually one of the famous Echo Base Troopers.
Also, Major Durlin is also seen in Star Wars: The Freemaker Adventures.
Okay, all right.
It's a random show, but that I watched. But you know what? Pretty good.
We'll have to check that out. All right, Will, anything else for this week?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you guys for joining again. Once again, leave us any comments you have. Every single week, Topps releases 2 new cards on their website through the Star Wars Living set. Once again, shout out to Chris Penix for doing a great job on the art. My favorite card this week is K-2SO for the artwork. How about you? Yeah, it's a really good one. Right? Otherwise, thanks guys. Hopefully you all having a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.